Custom form, let's say, for all of us here, okay, if you need something, what do you do from your company? You request, you send in a request, right? Okay, sending in a request, there can be multiple forms that is available in your organization. It can be like very simple forms, asset management form, okay? You want to request for a laptop, you need to send in a form. You want to request for a mouse, you need to send in a form, okay? You want to request to travel, to visit your colleagues or to visit your team in a different country, you need to send in a form. You want to request for a budget for a team lunch, you need to send in a form, okay? So what makes JustLogin's custom form different, okay? So first and foremost, it is customizable form, and also we have a workflow creation. So what we mean by customizable form, okay? It is very versatile, okay? So the forms that you have, you need to have specific fields, okay? So for transport forms, traveling form, you need to have traveling fields that is related to travel, okay? And then for budget request form, you need to have fields that is related to budget. Okay, so for JustLogin custom form module, you can actually decide which form have how many fields. You can have 10 fields, you can have 20 fields, you can have 1 field. It's really up to you. It's very versatile. And then workflow creation. Okay, so workflow creation means the entire approval flow. So let's say, for now, if let's say you're doing a very manual way, okay, so how's your approval gonna be? Your staff fill up a manual form, and then they go around or send it to HR. HR go around and ask for an approval from everybody that is involved in the process, right? Or the more advanced way is email chain. Okay, so I request, then I send it to my HR review it, send it to the next person, and then that person might take 2 days or 2 weeks to approve, you know? So it's really very troublesome, okay? So with JustLogin's workflow creation, if some of you are a customer, you might have seen this, okay? But it is actually tied back to our other modules, okay, that is using this workflow creation. It is actually very versatile also. You can actually set up to 7 levels. You can decide which form to go to which approval, okay? So I'll show the video in a bit. And then JustLogin AI framework. So of course, our custom form is also integrated with AI, okay? So as I mentioned earlier, even though our form is very versatile, sometimes you need to know what fields for what form, okay? And then at that point of time, you might not be able to think of any, okay? So no worries, a click of button, we will actually generate all the fields for you that is related or relevant to the form that you are looking for. And mobile application. How many of you don't bring your mobile phone out nowadays? No, right? Mobile phone is actually very important to us. I think if I'm driving, I will turn back to my house to take my phone, then I'll continue my journey. Okay, so our custom form is actually in the mobile application now, so that the requester, which is the user, and the approver can actually do both actions using the mobile app. Okay, so let's start with a quick video on the customizable side of things. So you can create a new form. Just put in your, the form name. So we are going for a travel request form, okay? And then a quick description, and you will see that purple color button, AI field suggestion, all right? So based on your travel request form, the name of the form, we will generate all the fields that is relevant to the form, okay? Of course, you can always go ahead and change the naming that they have provided, okay? And then just add it to the form. Some of the fields is a drop-down. It's a text field, so AI is actually smart enough to suggest whether this is a drop-down, this is a text box, yes or no question, okay? So you can just choose, and then all this basic information is actually from our Just people, because your employees might need to fill up all this information, right? So you can just drag and drop, all right? And then this is what we call as a custom field. Okay, some fields are not available. You also have the flexibility to create the fields on the go. So for example, you want an emergency contact because they are traveling overseas. And the field type can be any. We have text, attachment, date picker. So you name it, we have it. And then you can just save it. So once you save it, it will actually show up at the bottom there. You can drag and drop to your form. And then you can save your form. Your form is done. Okay, so it's as simple as that. So you don't have to go through the entire process of creating the form manually from scratch anymore. All right? So once this is done, what will happen? you need to create workflow. So this is the approving process that I was talking about earlier, okay? So every form that you see here, you can set up different workflow, okay? So you can decide which form goes to who, okay? So you can set up the workflow name, and then you can actually select the officers, the approving officers that's going to be part of this form. Okay, so the first level, second level, okay, as I mentioned, we have up to 7 levels. We also have cross-entity, okay, which means that if your supervisor or the person that's supposed to approve the form is from a different entity, you can also assign them, and then you can actually assign to all the employees that is going to be involved in this particular form itself. All right, so that is how you can actually set up the workflow. Now, the requesting of the form from the user side. Okay, so this is the web. So from the web, a user can actually go in, they will see the form that you have assigned to them, and they can just click on request. So basic information from Just People will automatically be filled up. They don't have to do anything, and then they can fill up the rest of the information, like travel purpose, travel date, and other information that is required, and then they can click on submit. And once they click on submit, once they click on submit, it will actually trigger the workflow, which means that it will go through the entire approving flow, all right? So now, to the next important aspect, mobile application. Web, you need a laptop, you need an iPad. Sometimes we don't carry both with us, right? But mobile application, mobile, as I mentioned earlier, we don't leave the house without it. So how it's going to be done? Users can actually apply, request for a form on the go. So they will see all their forms over there, and then they can just click on request. Yep. And then they can just fill up the necessary information. Okay? So same thing, all the basic information will be filled up accordingly for them. So business trip, okay, they can choose the number of travel days. They will travel for 3 days, okay, and then the date, they can just select the date that they're supposed to travel, and then they can submit the form. So now, this again will trigger the workflow. So when this is done, what will happen is the approver will receive an email. So it doesn't matter users submit it from a web or from a mobile application, it will trigger an email to the approving officer. So we are going to see the last approver, okay? So when the approver actually receive a notification, they can immediately go to their mobile phone, they will see their to-do list over here, and they can just go ahead and approve or reject the claim. Reject the form, sorry. Okay, and then if there were any other approving officers before them, they will also be able to see who were they, the date, the time that was done. All right? And finally, from the user side, they can just go in, they can see their completed tab, and they will be able to see all the forms that has been approved or rejected. Okay? And then including all the other necessary information. Okay, so we have come to the end of custom form. So custom form, yeah. So for recruitment and custom form, as I mentioned earlier, this is actually the version 2.0, okay? So try it out. I believe that you guys might have heard, might have not heard, okay? So try it out. If you guys have any question, you would like to talk to any one of us, feel free to do so, okay? Thank you.
All right, thank you.